Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. I also live stream all my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you would like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Okay, so today's should be a nice, quick and easy one. We're just going to be reinstalling Windows on this Dell Inspiron laptop. So we'll get straight into it. Hopefully the pass-through works. Why are we not? Interesting. So I'm not getting a BIOS screen here, just let me try a couple other things here. Here we go. All right. Okay, and we're getting a pass-through signal. No. Okay. Yep. It's a shame it's not doing the pass-through, so I can't show you what I'm doing here. Okay, so we're just going to do a Windows reinstallation. Like I said, I'm just not getting a pass-through signal from the laptop while I'm doing this. But if we turn it around there, you should be able to make out that we are in the Windows reinstallation screen there. Okay, so this is the start of a Windows reinstallation, so we just go to install now. Yeah, I had to do a bit of playing around with settings that you couldn't actually see because the pass-through wasn't working. So I've got another monitor set up here that I normally, anything I plug in over here shows up on there and it goes through my streaming computer, so the pass-through. But sometimes with laptops they just don't like to send a video signal out of that HDMI port when we're doing things like this. And so because we're gonna just do a complete reinstallation of Windows, all these here, see how they say drive 0? Well, you probably can't see it very clearly from this angle, but they all say drive 0, so it's actually all this stuff's the same drive. So we're going to delete all this stuff because we're just going to do a fresh install of Windows. So we're just going to delete. Can't delete unallocated space. Look at all this stuff. And we can just go next because we've just got our 1 terabyte drive there, all unallocated space, and so Windows can just do its thing now. And do we have USB-C on this laptop maybe? No. Well, that kind of sucks. It's no big deal. I think everything that I need for this installation will actually be on this SSD here, so we're going to hook that up to install the other software while the rest of this is running. And we will plug in some internet, but not yet. We'll just leave that cable there. Bloody mobile processors. Bit slow. Always forget just how slow laptops are compared to ordinary PCs. You know? People think they're all the same because they've got the same names for the CPUs, like i5, i7. But laptops are not the same as desktops. You can't go, oh, I've got an i5 laptop, so, well, I'm going to need an i5 desktop to have the same performance. No. The i3 would be better than the i5 laptop. There we go, on 62%. So that USB port that it's plugged into might not be the fastest as well. That's probably a USB 2 port that's designed for the mouse. That's my bad there. I should have plugged the mouse in over there and the USB stick over here, but that's okay. Too late to change it now. Yeah, it's always good to do a fresh install on these laptops. Usually, they usually come with a bit of like random bloatware that you just don't need. So I'm not sure what this customer uses the laptop for or anything. It's not really like a gaming laptop or anything like that, so I'm not going to install any of that kind of stuff. We're just going to install Office 365 pretty much. Come on. Yeah, this part's normally done by now. Alright, that's the slow part over. Got a few people here. Hey Nick, how you going? Good to have you with us. See me in a couple of days. Oh, I've been busy. I've been making like YouTube content, so not live videos, pre-recorded videos. So I've been busy. All right. Battery low. Okay. What's going on here? Okay, so we'll continue with our installation. Really? Do you want to be painful? It really wants to make this difficult for me, doesn't it? Okay, well, let's try that again. So we don't have to enter a product key for these. Yeah, so it did do its thing. Let's just try the whole thing. We'll do the whole thing again. Just for good measure. Hey AJ, yeah, yours is on tonight, man. So yeah, tune in later to see that. Hey Isaac, how you going? Good to have you here. Pax is here too. Hey man, how you going? Yeah, well, just dealing with a Inspiron that's giving me a bit of a headache there, but we'll get through it. We'll work through it. It's a bit of fun, like it always is, with these pre-built PCs. Yeah, so this is always fun, just waiting for this to run through. But we're getting a boot device error upon restart. So that's usually an indication that something in the boot settings isn't quite right in BIOS. But I changed a few things around before, so I'm hoping that it won't happen again. If it does happen again, at least that's the same thing happening 2 times in a row, which tells me that the problem is the same thing, so it tells me it's something that I haven't looked at yet. Pax asks, what's the max FPS that he can get on his PC? Well, I mean, you could get thousands of frames a second if you run an old emulator. It all depends on what game you're running, the settings that the graphic settings that you're using while you're running it, the resolution that it is. There's no like hard limit to the amount of frames per second your computer can do, because it depends what frames. Not all frames are the same. Like if a blank screen is technically a frame. So yeah, and like, yeah, for Fortnite, like you could turn everything down. I don't know what you get. I don't know. I wouldn't have a clue. You'd have to actually go and look at all that, because I don't play Fortnite, so I don't really play around with it. I don't spend a lot of time in it. I go into it to install it for people and to walk around in the game and show people how it runs on different settings. But yeah, I couldn't tell you. You have to play around with it. You know, you can change the screen resolution down to really low thing, like you can send it back to like, you know, like think of 1080. You could make it like a quarter or an eighth the size of 1080, and then you're gonna get heaps of frames. So it's just one of those things. Like I get asked this question all the time: how many frames a second does this computer do? And it's the question's wrong from the get-go. Okay. Let's get back into BIOS. Alright, so a bit of toggling of things back and forward there to make the Windows install work, but we should be good now. And I guess this is why people need like to bring their computers to people like me, because there's a lot of bullshit I had to tinker with there to get this to just do it smoothly. Dell really want you to, you know, send it back to them if there's a problem, you know, so they can extort hundreds of dollars off you for something that's really, really simple. I mean, so I've technically had problems here, but I'm only 24 minutes in, and basically I've done all the hard work now to get to this stage. So now it's pretty much click some buttons, go make a coffee. So even with problems, it's only taken me, what, 20-something minutes to deal with this. If I didn't have problems, I'd already be sitting down with a coffee. So but basically, there's different boot modes and stuff like that. There's legacy ones, there's what's called UEFI ones, and basically, when you boot off a USB stick to Windows, it's like a legacy boot mode, and then if you don't have that enabled, it won't boot from the USB, so then you've got to change it back, because then when you install Windows, if it's not doing... See, a lot of motherboards have a legacy and UEFI option, whereas this laptop doesn't, and that means you have to toggle back between those different boot modes to get it to work. So they make it a royal pain in the ass for the end user to work on it and do anything with it. So yeah, obviously if you get stuck, this is a $35 plus GST job here just to do a Windows reinstallation on like a laptop. So if you get locked out, like this customer got locked out from his password, he's got nothing major on it, so this is a really easy, quick solution just to reinstall Windows on it. Plus he gets a new fresh install of Windows on it and gets rid of any bloatware that was on there. But Dell isn't too bad for bloatware. Acer and HP are much worse. Actually, I'm going to get a coffee right now while this is going on. Just get ready, alright? Come on. Come on. Come on, you can do it. Show me the Windows installation screen. You've got to reboot first though. Don't forget you've got to reboot. Poor old girl struggling with a Windows reinstallation. What's Nick saying? Nick has answered my question for me. Yeah, basically Packs and emulators like an application that'll play old games and stuff like that, so you can get like an Atari emulator and play old Atari games or old Sega games or whatever. And obviously those games, they'll run it, if you turn the frame limiting off, they'll run at thousands of frames a second on modern computers. So alright, it's rebooted. It remembered to reboot, that's good. Sometimes they don't remember to reboot. It's rare, but sometimes it gets stuck on that black screen with the cursor. I was like, is it going to do this? I've seen some shit with this whole process. I've done it so many times that you've seen some weird behaviour from time to time. Right, show me the setup screen. So yeah, packs. Think of it like this: you've got like the quality settings in the game, and that adds more details. So each frame is going to take a bit longer to render or draw. You can think of rendering as drawing. So it's going to take the computer and the graphics card longer to draw it if the quality settings are up. And then you've got the size of the screen, or the resolution, which is the amount of pixels high by the amount of pixels wide, right? And so that resolution, by making the resolution smaller, you're rendering a smaller picture. Even if it's stretched out over your monitor, it looks the same size. The graphics card's drawing a smaller picture, and if it has to draw a smaller picture, it can do more frames per second. So that's why it's very, very hard to answer those questions about how many frames a second does this computer do, because there's too many variables involved. You can adjust all that resolution and quality and all that kind of thing. So you can fine tune it to what you need to win. Basically, you just gotta spend a bit of time. Obviously, if you make the resolution low, the overall quality decreases. But yeah, if you're after maximum frames a second, then yeah, you run it in a lower resolution. I mean, if you're after absolute maximum frames a second, you're probably going to be running it in like 720p resolution, not 1080 anyway. Come on. Neil says slumming it today, playing with laptops. Yeah, no, this was just a random customer who came with me. Got locked out of his Windows, just needed it reinstalled. Obviously, like what I was going through before, just to get it to do the Windows reinstallation. Sometimes it's just not straightforward to get one of these laptops to reinstall Windows for you. Okay, what have we got here?
Hi there, I'm Cortana, and I'm here to help.
Yeah, and
a little sign in here, a touch of Wi-Fi there, and we'll have your PC ready for all you plan to do.
Yeah, and you can
use your voice or the keyboard along the way, and if you'd like me to stay quiet.
Jesus. Oh. Keyboard layout is the US. Yeah, I don't have internet. Continue with limited setup. And so this is what we do. We make the account user, and we do not set a password. Customer can set a password, We can opt out of all this. If the customer wants any of this, they can opt back into it. We just want Katana to shut up. Yeah, you can shut up now. Okay, so let's connect our USB stick. And we'll plug in this SSD. Let's see if the pass-through works. Now that we're at this stage. No? Oh, what's going on in the comments? Let's make it bigger so I can read. Okay. Yeah, well, like, that's going down in resolutions. That's obviously the limits with your monitor. So you got 1080, 900, or 720. So they're just slightly. 1080 is the biggest image, 900 is the second biggest image, and 720 is the smallest one that it will do. So the smaller the image means that you could turn the quality settings up to maximum, and you'd get a higher frames per second, but it would be a lower resolution image. So I guess you've just got to go in and do some experimenting and see which one you like. You might find that 720 is not quite right for you, but 900 looks okay, or you might find that you really prefer 1080, so you just leave it at 1080. Alrighty, so now will it let me pass through? Now will it output? No. Oh, it's a bit of a pain. I should be able to fix that though. Plug in some internet. And we'll get Windows updates going on. Alright, display settings. Nah, it's just not working because we don't have the display drivers installed, I'd say. Alright, so while that's going on, we'll get some basic custom icons down here. And we'll just install Chrome and Office 365. Okay, so we have an i5 42-1U CPU. So that's why we're a little bit slow. It's a 2-core, 4-thread processor, and we've only got 4 gigabytes of RAM on here. Alright, well that's just got to sit there and download everything. So that's pretty much it. We're now back into Windows. We're just installing updates and Microsoft Office and everything, and it's ready to hand back to the customer. So all good, happy days. So I might actually leave this stream here because, like I said, we're pretty much done here, and I'm gonna keep going on my my non-live content that I'm putting together, how-to videos and all sorts of other stuff. So I'll catch you all later in the next video because we've got a couple of live PC builds and repairs coming up today. So I will see you all in the next video.